All right, let's bring in Aisha Tyler. Her sweet chocolatey skin, her
You really like her,
beautiful.
You're crushing on her.
How are you, hon?
I'm excellent. How are you doing?
You look good today.
Thank you. I haven't slept since what's today? I haven't slept since Wednesday. So
Well, what's your schedule like? I mean, are you doing stand up on the weekends all the time now, or what?
like one weekend a month. I mean, this up until August, I was on a plane every single weekend because I was touring. I was touring personally my stuff. Archer was on tour, and I had a book I was promoting. So, yeah, I mean, I'm out like 2 weekends a month. I'm trying to take it easy, man.
Then you also have that show, The Talk, right?
I have The Talk.
How often
every
do
day.
you do that?
4 days a week, so Monday through Thursday.
So Monday through Thursday. Well, they run on Friday. Do you do two shows?
On Thursday. So yesterday we shot 2 shows Wednesday this week for magical reasons that I don't actually remember because I tend to forget things right after they happen, just memento style. So one show, and then I went and did the Tonight Show, and then I got on a red eye last night, and I just landed, and I came straight here from the airport.
Do you ever
stink of men in suits upon me?
Do you ever call your agent and you go, how can I be one night on the Tonight Show and the next morning with Rover's Morning Glory?
Really, what
You're
it
fired.
was how can I move Leno back in order to accommodate Rover in the morning? Who do I have to call?
Speaking of Jay Leno, on this show, The Talk, Sharon Osbourne's a co-host of yours. She revealed that she had some sort of a fling with Jay Leno.
Yes, which is true. Yesterday was a big day because she announced that on Monday. People went bananas. There was a standing ovation. Apparently, until people sat down and started making pictures in their head, and then everybody had to curl up in a ball like a kitten in a basket.
When did she? What's the details of this?
They were both in their 20s. Like neither of them were married. She had just gotten to L.A. I think she might have been working with Black Sabbath at the time, or with Ozzy at the time. But
and he was just a stand-up comedian or something.
Jay was just a stand-up. They met in a nightclub. They met in a comedy club, and this is now I've corroborated the stories. They met in a comedy club. Sharon was a big prankster when she was young, so she was prank calling him, and she just hounded him mercilessly with her foxy English voice until he went on a date with her, and I guess they fooled around a little bit. They hung out, and then that was it. That's how you are in your 20s, you know. Yeah. Sometimes romances end with a bang. Sometimes they end with "Please give me my flip flops back. I have to get to class," and then and they stayed friends. They've been friends for 20 years now.
Well, what's interesting is that Jay Leno, he's kind of like you in the terms of being married. He's been married.
Thank you.
No, in terms of being married, he's been married for like a million years or whatever.
I asked him last night because I was on last night. I gave him some flowers from Sharon, which was lovely, lovely and weird.
Here's a used rubber back, Jay.
Yeah, I said, exactly. Here are your giant boxer shorts, vintage boxer shorts made of hemp. Yeah, he's 33. I'm going to be 20 in May. But
so you'll have been married 20
years in May. Yeah.
So that's unusual for entertainment marriages.
I don't think that entertainment marriages fall apart that much more frequently than regular marriages. We just care more about it because they're hotter.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody's fantasizing about how they're going to get a piece of that when everything crumbles.
So 20 years you've been.
I also
married.
think that trim kind of falls out of the sky in the entertainment business. I feel like what's the Chris Rock bit about everybody only being as faithful as their options?
Well, that is true. I mean, when you're an actor or a musician or something like that, girls throw themselves at you.
Flinging themselves at you.
And being a guy, look, I'm
Human beings are grubby bastards. Let's just get that out of the way right now.
I'm on the very bottom rung in the entertainment industry. I mean,
I just saw some footage from
Roverfest
where I could see a girl's blood type through her underpants.
So girls will come after me.
Yes.
And as a guy, there's something in your brain that just you're like, I have to take advantage of this because
you do.
This is not supposed to happen. Right.
Yes.
Even though it continues to happen time and time again, you go, this could be the last time a girl just throws herself at me in a bar.
The earth is about to run out of boobs.
Yes.
I better take this last pair before we're out.
Did guys hit on you nonstop when you were younger?
Now that I'm old and I'm slightly mannish, no. Did they? It's interesting. It doesn't work the same way with guy comedians and girl comedians. I think girl comedians tend to be a little intimidating sometimes to guys. You know what I mean? I've had guys hit on me, but I don't really give off a kind of a thing. I'm more like, who wants to get drunk and play Xbox? So I get that. I want to buy you a beer. I still get a lot of that. Hey, come do shots with us. Come drink with us. I don't get so much of the hits.
I'm doing the math. You're going to be married 20 years. That must mean that you got married.
When I was 4 years old.
Well, you must what, about 21, 22 or something?
Right out of college.
That's very young.
Yeah, very young.
What did your parents say to you when you got married at that young of an age?
They said, what did my parents? My parents were like, whatever, just go. Get out of our hair. My family's not super traditional. You know what I mean? So they were like, we'll show up. Don't ask us for money anymore. Thank God someone else has to deal with your crap.
Well, your parents, they were divorced, right?
Yeah, they divorced when I was young. Yeah.
So did they, when you got married at such a young age, I'm just assuming that your parents would come to you and go, look, we got divorced. We were in love.
I don't know. I think white people interfere in each other's affairs. That's a Caucasian thing. Black people are like, whatever. Good luck. Your problems are your own. I'll always love you. Don't come back and ask for money. I mean, and also I think my parents are just, they were like, in my book, I have a book out right now called Self-inflicted Wounds, and it's all about embracing failure. Mm-hmm. And my parents were very much like, a lot of parents are like, well, I don't know how that's going to go. Don't do it. You might fail. My parents were like, I bet you this is going to go terribly. Don't catch on fire. They just supported me in whatever I wanted to do. So they're just super behind me.
Did they like your husband?
They loved him. Yeah. My husband is a rock star. He's 6'6", Ivy League football player, super hot, and also super loving, super nice guy, like the guy who shows up at my mom's house and works on a computer all day long, all day. And my mom is like, what does this button do? And my husband inside's like, I'm going to die.
I'm straight, but I'm thinking this guy may actually be for me. You're selling him so well.
He could turn a lot. He loves football. He can fix stuff. He's got tools. He's the nicest. He opens doors. He's like a perfect dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
By the way, Aisha is going to be, the reason she's here, she's going to be, I'll give you a plug here. She's going to be at Hilarities tonight.
Why am I here?
7:30 and 10 p.m.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, 7 and 9:30. And Hilarities is over there on East 4th Street. I'll give you the number to call for tickets in a little bit. I also have some tickets to give away. And you mentioned your book, Self-Inflicted Wounds, which is available in
everything.
In stores all over the place.
Hardback, it's audio. I did the audio book, the iBook, blah, blah.
When you write a book, how much of it is you writing it yourself and how much of it is some author that you...
Why would I? I don't know. I understand if you're not a writer hiring somebody, but I've never had anybody write my material. I would never have anybody write anything for me. It's my book and it's my voice. People who know my podcast, Girl on Guy, know that there's a segment on Girl on Guy called Self-Inflicted Wounds. So my guests come on and I've had everybody. Jack Osborne's going to be the first episode next week, but Chris Rock's
looks great, by the way. Jack Osborne. I saw a picture of him for the first time for whatever. He was in the news for something a couple days ago.
Fit. He looks great.
I go, wait a second, that's Jack Osborne. I still remember him from the Osbournes, all fat and dumpy
big
and
glasses.
nerdy looking dork kid.
He's a rugged Renaissance man now.
Yeah.
But Chris Rock, Tony Bourdain, Anthony Richter, Serge Tankian from System of a Down, Tom Reller for Rage Against the Machine. They all come on. We talk about their work, and then at the end they tell a self-inflicted wound story, which is something that went wrong in your life that's your own fault. Like, you can't be like, my mom did it, or the man, or that thing just blew up in my face. It's like, I poured the shots down my throat and then I vomited all over that girl. So I decided after 2 years of making other people tell those stories, I would tell those stories. So it's a whole book of all of my massive fails from the time I was 5 years old.
Biggest fail of your life is what?
Here's the thing I'll say as a caveat first. The whole book is about pursuing failure, about embracing failure, about literally being like, man, I'm about to scrub my ass on uncarpeted plywood. It is going to go terribly for me, but that should never keep anybody from doing stuff they want to do. I have people come up to my shows and they're like, I want to be a stand-up, but I'm afraid I'm going to fail, or I want to write a book. I'm afraid I'm going to fail. I'm like, you're going to fail? Of course you're going to fail. But why should that be a preventative? Why should that keep you from going for the stuff you want? Failure is what makes you mentally tough, is what makes you creatively tough. And success is not about lack of failure. Success is persistence through failure. Everybody bails. And I never got funny when I killed. When you kill, you're like, follow that, bitches, who wants shots? It's when you bomb that you go home and you're like, I gotta get it together, So the book is a massive I did vomit on a guy I was trying to sleep with.
You did?
I did.
What happened?
He still slept with me. Look at me. But it was embarrassing.
What'd you do? Where'd you vomit on him? Like right on his face, or were you like down slobbing on the knob or something?
No, oh God, that would be epic. That would be spectacular. God, if that had happened. No, I went out with him. I was super stoked that we were going out because I'd liked him a long time and he kind of wasn't giving me any play. And then he turned a corner. So I was like, I finally locked it up.
Yeah.
And then we went to eat. And I vomited like out the door, passenger window of the car. It was like a Zapruder film. Like it blew back into the back seat and like into the back of our heads, And it's like, And I found out later he was dating somebody else at the time, and I had vomited on her car. So boom.
Wow.
Follow that.
Who hits on you more, white guys or black guys?
Oh,
everyone.
Equal
Indians, anyone.
Yeah, they all bring it. But I don't know. I'm just not. Guys do hit on me, but I don't have that like kind of thing going on. So I get a lot of creepy nerds, because I'm a big gamer. So Comic-Con, a lot of guys like get a lot of that. But those are my people.
What games do you play? What do you like?
I've been in a bunch of games too. So like my gateway game was Halo, and that's probably the game I played the most multiplayer. I play a lot of cooperative play with my husband, so we play Gears of War and like Rainbow Six. But I did a voice for Halo Reach. I did a voice for the DLC for Gears of War 3, and I'm in the new game Watch Dogs that's coming out from Ubisoft in November. So,
is there anything Aisha Tyler can't do?
No,
what are you bad at?
I'm the black female Ryan Seacrest.
I'm just telling you.
Bastard.
I mean, seriously,
all the jobs,
you're writing,
all the jobs.
you're doing television shows, you're hosting shows, you're in video games. Yeah. I mean,
I'm a terrible dancer.
What are you?
And I have, for a black woman, I have a woefully flat ass. So I have those two things against me. Yes.
So you're bad at dancing.
I can't twerk. I mean, I feel if I twerked on you, you might get like some kind of a jabbing injury from my tailbone.
What did you think of that video that Jimmy Kimmel did, the twerking video where the girl catches on fire?
We covered it on the talk.
Brilliant, wasn't it?
It was brilliant. Here's why it was brilliant. It looked fake, and we all said it. Julie Chen's like, that looks fake. But when she came up from the fire and she was flipping out, I was like, look at her face. So that girl was an actress. Because up until that point, it felt a little staged. But when she was on fire and she was like, shouldn't have bought this synthetic pants. I was like, yeah, that's about
I also
real.
thought that the girl that came in and opened the door, and then like the way that she reacted, she did a pretty good acting job too. Because that's how girls do. They just like stop there. Like they don't know what to do.
But didn't it make you doubt the entire internet? Like now I'm never going to believe the internet again.
The other one that's fake, I'm convinced is 100% fake, and this just came out a few days ago. Is
the guy waking up?
Yeah, totally fake.
Yeah, totally
fake.
But adorable, right? But now it's like, maybe that kitten didn't climb in the toilet and try to flush itself down, right? Maybe all those people are not in love with each other that are doing it three-way doggy style. Maybe I just imagined that.
Jeffrey, what is it? My strangest guy you'll ever meet is Jeffrey. What is it?
I felt bad when she said that she couldn't twerk or anything like that. I said, don't feel bad, Aisha. I couldn't twerk if I tried. I tried it already. There's a video of it on RoverHero.com. If you want something you can really laugh at.
I want you to know you have a voice for twerking.
Thank you very much, dear.
He's perfect for radio, isn't he? If you're ever looking for, I know it's all women on the talk.
Radio or maybe like a TED Talk.
Yes.
He could do a really great TED Talk. Innovative ways to tie your shoes.
Turd Talk, perhaps, because that's his underwear that's up there with the skid marks hanging on the wall. So
I forgot about that piece of glorious.
You remember that maybe from the last time that you were here?
I blocked it out like my uncle touching me when
They
I was
don't
a kid.
have that in the green room at the Tonight Show last night, did they? Nothing
they
like
did
that.
not. No. The Tonight Show is sanitary. No, I tell you, I feel like if you have skid marked underwear, I think a bonfire in your backyard is pretty much the only option. There's no saving.
So, all right. So let me go through Aisha Tyler, and she's going to be through her life is what I was going to say.
Yeah, okay.
She'll be at Hilarities tonight, 7:30 and 10 o'clock, Saturday, 7 and 9:30.
Yes.
So we know that you got married at a young age.
Yes.
Right out of college.
Right out of college sweetheart.
When did you start doing stand-up comedy?
Right after. Like literally we graduated from school, and I think I started doing stand-up like 9 months later.
He's an attorney, right?
He's
Your
an
husband?
attorney,
Okay.
yes.
So was there a plan that you guys had? Like, okay, try this out. You try this. See if we make it work. I'm going to start out as a lawyer. I'll be able to support us for a little while.
Yeah, it was kind of he's just like super ride or die. So I remember like I was writing a lot of jokes down. I was writing a lot in a notebook, and he was like, he didn't know what I was doing, so he bought me like some books on writing because he thought maybe I wanted to write it. But he's just like super supportive. And then I was like, I think I want to try stand up. He's like, sure. He came with me. I was serviceable. But I said, I think I want to do this. I did it for a few years. I decided I wanted to move to LA, so he applied to law school in LA, so we could go to LA together. And then he was in law school, and I was supporting him while through law school. And then he got out, and he was supporting me, and it's been a team effort, and then Mama hit the jackpot. Now Papa's rich.
Why did you decide to do stand-up comedy? I mean, is it something you wanted to do from the time that you were young? Or?
So I was doing like sketch and improv all through high school and college, and I remember going to see a stand-up in college, and they weren't even that good. Like some hacky bit about a Tyrannosaurus Rex trying to play the clarinet or masturbate or something. And I just remember, like, if you've never seen live comedy, the first time you see it, it's like you discovered fire. You know what I mean? Like, even watching it on TV, it's nothing like seeing a live show. Your stomach hurts, your cheek hurts, you're exhausted. And I walked out of that first show, and I was like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. And then I started going to stand-up shows, like seeing Stephen Wright and all these guys live and Bill Cosby, and just was like, this is amazing. And I think every young comic is like, I remember like the Comedy Central, the early version of Comedy Central, I write about this in the book a lot, was this network called Ha. And it was just like a litany of dudes in blazers, right? Just one dude in a blazer after another dude, yogurt and puppies and flying and tiny bags of peanuts. And, every arrogant kid, every jackhole's like, I could do that, and that's what I thought. I could do it. And then you do that first set, you get one kind of half-hearted titter. You drop the mic. You're like, I'm the next comedy. Fucking Richard. Stepped off stage. And then I sucked for another like 7 or 8 years. And then I got really funny.
Did you make do you make a decent amount of money? Like the 7 years that you started out, did you make a decent amount of money doing it? No. It's pretty crappy.
I was lucky because I've been performing for such a long time that by the time I got on stage as a stand-up, I'd been performing live for a while doing sketch and stuff like that. But I didn't make a living at comedy. I got a development deal kind of early in my career. So that...
Will they give you 100, 200 or something?
Yeah, it was around that. And we lived off that
was
for a
that
while.
your first big payday that you got? Where you like your first sizable amount of money?
I remember the first time I got personal business. I remember the first time I got $1,000 for doing stand-up. I was like, I'm so rich. It was to play Vegas, and that was like the rent. You know what I mean? It wasn't like all of a sudden I could quit, my day job. But yeah, we lived off that for a couple. I had a big part of my career where I was doing stand up all the time, and I would go to the bank and I'd use my credit card and get a cash advance to pay a different credit card, and then use that credit card to pay for groceries. I mean, I went through it.
Do you ever? I'm sure you make pretty good money on.
I'm doing all right now. I have like 18 jobs. Yeah.
Do you ever think to yourself? Because sometimes I think this. I get paid, pretty good money for doing radio. And sometimes I think to myself, I go, I almost feel like I'm ripping them off to some degree. Do you ever feel that way?
Because you love your job so much?
I do love it.
Yeah.
And I feel as if it's not that difficult.
Right.
And they go, no, it's not anyone can do that. I go, I think anyone could do this if they applied themselves and they were motivated to do it. I think so.
What is interesting is I think that I don't walk around thinking I'm so awesome. I do think I worked really hard. I work really hard. Like I get up every day. I work 7 days a week. I'm up every day at 5. A lot of the material that I generate is my own. My book, you know what I mean? I didn't go to somebody like, hey, tell me how it goes. I shut my whole life down for 6 weeks. I wrote all day, every day. I think a lot of guys don't have the appetite for that. And I think that's the difference between people who are moderately successful and people who are really successful, is that they're willing to be their own hardest boss. You know what I mean? No one tells me to get up early in the morning. No one told me to write a book proposal. No one tells me to get out on the road and grind. No one told me to create a podcast, right? I created that podcast because I thought it'd be interesting. I don't have a producer. I don't have an engineer. I do everything myself. I created the website.
What do you do? You do it at home?
I have an office. I have a production space. I record everything. I cut the show. I can format. I upload it. Everything. No one's telling me to do that stuff. I do it because I love it. And because I love it, I work hard to be good at it. And because I'm good at it, now that show makes money. So I feel like that's a difference. Maybe some guy could sit here and talk for a little while, but you're the accumulation of all of your life experience, and that comes through the microphone. That's why people connect with you. And I feel like I know a lot of guys who are funny, and the reason they haven't broken out is because they just didn't want to grind. Yeah. You know what I mean? They want to go out after the show and get high and and sleep with hookers, which I imagine is a good time. Doing blow off a hooker's ass is always a good time.
You ever do any drugs? You don't seem like the kind of person that would really get into drugs.
I'm super straight edge. I partied in college like everybody, but I just don't have that genetic predisposition.
Yeah. I've never really been into it either. I mean, I like to drink here and there.
Yeah, booze is delicious.
Do you drink?
I kind of quit about a year ago.
Why? What happened? You just decided to?
I just felt like, God, I sound like a Tim Robbins friggin' lecture. You know what it was like? There were, in my life, I was getting like 80% of what I wanted to get done. And I felt like quitting drinking was going to get me the other 20%.
Did it?
It did.
Yeah.
It did. Absolutely.
Well, how often were you drinking?
I was a spirits enthusiast, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I every day.
So you were drinking every day? And then...
Yeah, but not like, yeah. You know what I mean? Like out of a paper bag. I love booze. I'm like very picky about it. If I walk into a bar and there's not certain things behind the bar, I will leave that bar and not drink there. I have a set of
high maintenance.
I have a set of crystal in my house that I bought specifically because it was the right kind of crystal to drink like bourbon out of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I had special ice cube trays that made big ice so that it wouldn't melt and ruin my drinks. You know what I mean? I wasn't like pounding shots, but I just felt like I wanted to get up every day and feel sharp. I wanted to be effective every day. And you know, having a cocktail or two at night was keeping me from being sharp.
What about? I agree with you. It's very difficult, especially waking up this early. I can't really drink during.
You can't do
the
it,
week.
right? Yeah.
Every now
and
then
you just
I can,
break
but
yourself on Friday.
It's tough. I sleep all weekend. I'm just so tired. But what about if you go into social situations? You go to a party on a Saturday night, or you go to some sort of function or whatever.
I never let peer pressure make me drink.
Of those.
No, if I want to have a drink, I have a drink. But I never think like everybody's drinking, so I should drink. And if everybody's drinking like a bad beer, I don't then pick up a glass of piss water and share. You know what I mean? I feel like one great thing about being a grown-up is I can just drink the stuff I like and do the stuff I like. You know what I mean? On my show, I talk a lot about, Bill Burr was one of my first guests on my podcast when I first started doing it. And it's funny because we have kind of parallel lives. We've been doing stand-up about the same amount of time, and we came up in the clubs together, and he quit around the time I quit, and we talked about like why, and it wasn't like I wrecked a car. It was just like, you ever sit down and you're like, I'm gonna have one drink, and they're like, I had 7.
yeah.
But
see, that's my problem. Like once I get started, I don't get started very often drinking, but once I do,
you know why? Because you're not a quitter.
That's right. Exactly.
Push through.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to shut it down after 2 or 3 drinks. I'm like, I'm ready to be like, well, let's go all night. You know,
all the time.
Sure, I have to wake up at 5 in the morning. Yeah, I'll be all right.
Right.
Aisha Tyler is going to be at Hilarities tonight, 7:30 and 10 o'clock, and then tomorrow, 7 and 9:30.
Yeah, and I'm excited to be back in Cleveland because I took over Who's Line from a prodigal Cleveland son, Drew Carey.
Drew Carey, right?
So I'm here to honor him.
What nights does that? When does this air?
Tuesdays on the CW at 8 o'clock. 8 and 8:30.
CW 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Is it the same group of guys that was doing it a couple of years?
Wayne, Colin,
ago?
and Ryan are all back. Fourth chair is always rotating, and then I took over for Drew.
Those guys are really good.
Insanely funny.
Yes. Really
Insanely
good.
funny. Just aliens.
I don't have cable, so I see the show all the time. I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
I'm so glad it's back.
I haven't seen it since you've been hosting it, but a few years ago when the show was on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's much better with you, by the way.
It's you know what? It's good and different. Drew is a really good friend of mine. He's been on my show. We've been friends forever.
You're better looking, so that's
my breasts are much nicer than his. I think he
not bigger,
agree.
just nicer. But I would see that and I go, this has to be set up. These guys can't be that good. That these guys are coming up with this on the fly.
Let me tell you, not even a little bit. In fact, when we go in to before we tape the show at night, I'm sequestered from the guys. They can't come on stage. I run just the rundown of the show, not the ideas, but just the flow of the show. And they can't even see who the special guests are going to be. They're like completely locked away. We can't eat meals together. Mm-hmm. And I remember one night during a taping reading one of the cards out, and like Ryan was leaning in, he was squinting at me, and I think he was trying to like dog me like on the yard. And then I realized he was like listening to what I was saying because he was trying to figure out what the hell he was about to do. Mm-hmm. I mean, they really do that in the moment, and it's insane. There was one show where they gave Wayne a song style. It was like Nicki Minaj was a song style and like a subject. And then 30 seconds later, he was doing an impression of Nicki Minaj, dancing like her, and doing a rap off the top of his head of a topic he hadn't heard before that was like brilliant and rhymed and was a perfect 3 minute and 30 second. He's insane. They're all insane.
No, I know.
They're bananas.
It's really, those guys are all great. And all right, so you do that show. You do the Daily Talk show.
The Daily Talk show,
which is called
The Talk.
The Talk.
Yeah. And then Archer.
I mean, that's an animated thing, right?
Yes, that's on FX. It starts season 5 in January.
where do you have time to actually do anything else? That sounds like your whole day. I mean, your whole week is just sucked up with all of these projects.
Totally.
What about with your husband? You get time to spend with him, or where do you guys live? L.A.
Yeah, we live in L.A. Yeah. I mean,
you get time with him a lot.
The talk has been great because it keeps me in L.A. I used to travel a lot more, so I'm home more. But we don't have any kids, which is great because we have the time that would be sucked up with dealing with tiny humans.
Yeah, but you say that's great, but I just saw on the talk that you
revealed
that yes, you cannot have children. You've been trying and
you know
trying
what it
and
is?
trying.
No, it's interesting. I feel like you tell a story and
lay down on this couch. We can try right now. Maybe that's what the problem is.
What it was we never wanted kids.
Yeah,
and then we finally had some stability. We thought, let's try, and we went to find out if we even could because I'm just insanely old. I'm grandfather years, and but you know how black people are. We never get any older.
You seriously could be. It's weird when you look at a black woman. They can be 22 or 62, you have no idea.
It just makes up for the 400 years of slavery. So we went to find out if we could, and what they said was you don't have a really good chance of it, but you can get into IVF. And I said, I just don't want to drop $300,000 on a baby.
Yeah,
I don't want to go through it. A lot of people choose that because that's all they want in life. But for me, we tried for 6 years. You know, we ran through our entire life savings. We have no retirement. I just wasn't interested in doing that. You know, I feel like I have such a full life that going through all of that madness wasn't for me. And the reason I told that story on the show was I wanted people out there who feel pressured by society like they're bad people if they decide not to go through that it's okay to choose not to have kids instead of putting yourself through this agony. And I know so many people literally have run through their entire life savings and didn't get pregnant.
Yeah.
And like you could, and without, you know, and they could have taken that $250,000-$300,000, spent 30 of it, and been a parent and adopted and been a parent like right away. And that's not everybody's choice. Some people really feel like their genetic material is the only way to go.
Did you do the IVF at all? Or
we got into it. We got into it for a little while. And I was like, you know, I'm not going to.
How many times did you try it?
We went through like a round and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually the female on my show, she has a 3-year-old.
The female.
The token
yes,
bitch.
That's a lovely.
She has a 3-year-old from IVF.
Yeah, if it's what you want to do, go bananas. Yeah. But don't feel like you should do it because people expect it of you. You know what I mean? Like it's something like society pressures you to do it, or you're a bad person if you decide it's not for you. Whatever your choice is should be like okay. You know?
Does it bum you out though that you can't have kids?
No.
It doesn't.
No, I mean, the idea, it was disappointing in the moment, but I feel like if I'd really wanted to have children, I would have started trying to get pregnant in my 20s. Mm-hmm. But I loved my work, and I was super slammed, and everything was good. And I never felt like I could. And then when I felt like I could, I was 42.
So when all the girls on the talk are like hugging you and stuff, everyone's getting weepy. Are you like, don't worry about it? It's not that big of a deal.
It was really sweet. I feel like I feel like in that moment I was expressing how I felt, which is that I was bummed about it. But I don't feel like I feel like I have felt all things about it. I felt like it was a relief to not decide not to go. It was a real relief to decide not to go through IVF. Like I was like, I'm thrilled that we made this decision as a team because I'm not looking forward to it.
I'm 37 years old. I'll be turning 38 in a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. And I'm single. I don't have any kids. Mm-hmm. I love kids, but you know, people do say, "Oh, you're going to regret if you don't have kids," because I'm getting older. And the fact is,
you really are. By the way,
you know, what are you going to? You don't want to be like 70 years old and have a kid in junior high or whatever. But
Alan Thick.
But I actually. I kind of like my life as it is. There are no hassles. Mm-hmm. I mean, you are just slammed if you have kids.
I mean, here's the thing. These are like, to me, the whole part of the part of that conversation I really wanted to let people know, male and female, is that these are about choices. I made a bunch of choices in my 20s and 30s that have paid off for me beautifully. Like I have this career I love, work that I do I love my life. Like I love making my podcast. I love Archer. I love the talk. I just wrote a book. I've directed 3 music videos this year. I'm about to direct a 4th. Like for rock bands. And
Silversun Pickups.
Silversun Pickups. I did one. I just did one for Clutch. I have another one coming out in the fall. Like I love what I do. Those were all choices I made that paid off for me creatively. And one of the choices was not to have a kid until now. And so is there a sadness that you think, oh, it would have been nice to do it? Yeah, you're sad. But also all this other awesome stuff happened in lieu of that. So I I feel like I know a lot of people who think if I knew then what I knew now about how hard this was going to be and how it wasn't going to go my way, I might not have gotten into it in the first place. And I feel like whatever choice you made should be your own choice. And I do love my life. Like, I love it. I just have this, I'm not wandering the hallways like the woman in black. Oh, if only I had a baby. In that moment, it was communicating something that we had gone through, and it was a tough experience. And those feelings were genuine, but the feelings of personal satisfaction about my creative life are genuine too. You know what I mean?
This
stuff is hilarious, by the way. People are rolling like lying on their backs.
Yeah, go see Aisha at Hilarities tonight at 7:30. You'll want to kill yourself afterwards. 7:30 and 10 o'clock tonight. 7 and 9:30 tomorrow. How does a band like Silversun Pickups how does that work where they come to you to direct a music video? I mean, what was the first music video that you did? What band was it for, and why did they come to you?
The first one I did was one for my comedy special, for my Comedy Central comedy special. I directed which you can find on the internet. It's called No Ass at All. It's on YouTube. It's all about
that must be about you, right?
Yes, exactly. Autobiographical story about my life.
How bad is this ass of yours?
Compared to other black women, literally it's like an event horizon, like a black hole in the distance that sucks all matter towards it and crushes it to a tiny point. So that was the first one I did. And then I just wanted to direct more stuff. So the Silversun Pickups are friends of mine. They were on my podcast. We became friendly. I said, guys, look, I'm going to come a fan. Let me come shoot you guys live, and I'll just give you a piece of fan art. Mm-hmm. And they loved that, and their production company loved that, and they were like, we want you to do more stuff. And then the same thing with Clutch. I'm a huge Clutch fan. I had Neil Fallon on my podcast, and then I just called those guys. They were in LA. I said, hey, can I come down and shoot you guys? Here's the last video I made. They loved that. I shot them. I got so much killer footage that I did 2 videos for them. So
so that sounds like something that you're interested in. If you could choose anything that you wanted to do in the entertainment industry,
everything.
What would you, if you had to stick with one thing?
Why are you doing this to me?
What would you do?
Why is this Sophie's Choice? I can't. They're all the same job to me. It's just one job.
Is there something that you want to do that you haven't? You want to direct a movie?
I
definitely
or something? Want to do features for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I definitely want to direct.
So what do you have to do? You have to start. You start out with the music videos, and then you go into short films.
Yeah, and I did a short film last year that benefited war veterans. Like this action piece I did, and all the money from that went to benefit the Wounded Warrior Project. So, I feel like also. Creatively, I just do everything I think I can. Like if I want to do something, I try it. If I'm good at it, I keep doing it. If I'm not, I put it down. Like in life, it's so brief. Like to sit around wondering about whether I might like something, I just go do it. Yeah. I wanted to direct stuff, so I started directing it. And the Clutch thing was so fun because I was on stage with this band that I love, whose music I love. I have all their albums, and the fans I'm shooting the fans, and the fans are all taking pictures of me, and there's a giant black woman on stage with Clutch, and they're like, we think that's the girl from Archer. So that for me, I also never want to be a person in this business who stops being a fan. I don't want to be jaded. You know what I mean? I always want to be stoked about the stuff that I get into. Every time when I go to Comic-Con and I get to meet like the people from like Walking Dead, I'm flipping out like everybody else. Mm-hmm. So all of the stuff I do is just about like, oh my God, I love video games. I'd love to be in a video game because I play them all the time. It'd be so killer to hear my voice come out of my TV. Oh, I love this band. It'd be so awesome to go hang out with them on the road for 2 days and shoot them when they're off stage. So to me, all of it is just the same job,
Did Barack Obama hit on you when you met him?
No, he didn't.
He didn't.
No. I did tell him a joke. And I had some friends taking pictures, and I touched his elbow, and my husband is like, how did you not get sniped in the face? I was like, the president's there, you touch him on the elbow, right?
If the president wanted to sleep with you, would you cheat on your husband to sleep with the president? I mean, it's the president of the United States of America. No way.
I'm not seduced by power. I'm only seduced by hotness.
You would never. Oh, so you can barely contain yourself sitting across from me right now.
That's why I have the shades on to keep my eyes the blinding light that is you. I need one of those little boxes you look at eclipses through.
Last time you were here, you were talking about how happy you were in your marriage and stuff. Mm-hmm. Is it really? Is it easy? I've never been married, so is it easy?
What's the longest you've gone?
8 years.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
you're on your way.
Is it easy or is it a lot of work? I mean, I figure if you're in love, is it like, it must make things much easier?
I think anybody who says their marriage is easy is a liar.
What's the hardest part about it?
We're at the point where we kind of turned a corner where but I feel like early in your career, in your marriage, like you want to do stuff the other person doesn't want to do. And I don't just mean like who wants pizza and who wants chicken. I think it's like, where are we going to live? How are we going to spend our money? How are we going to spend our social time? Why does your jaw clack when you chew? Why do you talk through every horror movie like an idiot? That's stuff that you just have to get over. And I also think that everybody goes through periods of their marriage where they like wonder what could have been, what should have been. But I also feel like I always tease a buddy about about this, where he's dating one girl and he wants the other girl. I'm like, you're like the dog with the bone who looks in the water and sees another dog with another bone and wants to take that dog's bone. You open your mouth, you drop the bone, you got no bone. You know what I mean? Like, right. If you get rid of this person, you just when they're crap, you're just moving on to another person with different crap.
Right.
So mainly what you're looking for is someone who likes you enough to put up with your crap.
With the least amount of crap themselves.
And is not trying to change you. And the minute that our marriage it was always good, but the minute it got killer was when we stopped wanting the person to be somebody other than who they were. You know what I mean? Like, there's stuff about him that I think is awesome, and there's stuff about him I wish I could change, and I know he feels the same way about me. And but
you've never been tempted.
Everybody's tempted. Everybody's tempted.
You've never been tempted to cheat on him.
I've never cheated, but I've been tempted.
But you've been tempted.
Yeah, who isn't
Why?
tempted?
What tempted? Just you saw a hot
Hotness.
guy, or
hotness.
Or
what am I? Ice?
Did you ever like start talking to a guy and you're like, wow, this guy's really funny. What a great personality.
I think if you are an adult and you do not admit that you are attracted to other people who are not your spouse, you're a liar.
Yeah.
But you don't act on it because you've built something that's important and incredible, and you don't want to blow it up.
Yeah.
And also, what you know about the person you're with, hopefully, is that they're going to be with you forever. You know what I mean? I mean, you've been in a relationship for 8 years. At some point, this person sees you sick. They see you vomit. They see your skid-marked underwear. In the case of your socially odd friend in the other room,
who's married, believe it or not.
Who's married?
Yeah.
I was shocked.
I
was shocked as well. But God bless her and you, and love is blind. No, he seems lovely actually. And what it's like marriage should be about all the awesome times you're like, we're still in love, light a candle, put on some Barry White. But it's also about the times when you feel like crap and the other person doesn't throw you out. You know what I mean? You want somebody who's going to put up with you and like you, even when you're totally unlikable.
How do other black people, and this is just a general question.
Speaking as a spokesperson for my race, bring it.
No, you married a white guy.
I did.
You are probably one of the whitest black women I've ever talked to. I mean, your ass is definitely white. I mean, that part of you is white. About that. And your dancing skills.
My dancing skills. And my gaming skills.
How do, because I know sometimes, that people will say, oh, she married a white guy, or she's not black enough. I've actually heard people say so-and-so isn't black enough.
I did. I was on W. Kamau Bell's got this show on FX called Totally Biased, and we had a whole conversation about that concept and about the fact. And too bad I can't curse on your show because it's literally it's like a Jedi mind trick for me not to curse right now. But it's everything in my power not to just explode at people like that, because nobody gets to tell me how to be black. First of all, I was born that way, so that's pretty much all I have to do is stay black and die. But the way when I was a kid, I was the only black kid in my school, right? The only black kid. During Black History Month, I was the exhibit. I was like a 6-foot-tall blackzilla, you know what I mean? I'd come stomping out on the playground. The tiny white girls would go running away, and they'd be like, here we have the Negro in her natural habitat. She's going to tell us all about her people, and then we're going to touch her hair. So I was the only black kid in my school, and then I went home and I lived in a black neighborhood. So the white kids didn't like me because I was black, and the black kids didn't like me because I thought I was white. So I literally lived in a no man's land. And when you're like that, when you don't fit in anywhere, you just stop giving a crap what anybody thinks about you. So I became the black kid I skateboarded, I listened to punk. One of my first live shows, I saw Black Flag when I was 15, because you know what? I don't give a crap what you think about me. Why should I care? If I'm not going to fit in, I'm going to do whatever I'm into. I taught snowboarding in college, and I became a little bit of an iconoclast because I was sick of people telling me what was black and what wasn't black. And I said on Kamal's show, I was like, someone was like, Buddy was a writer on a show, and he was black, and he was getting a bagel like backstage, and someone's like, black people don't eat bagels. I'm like, black people don't eat bread with holes in it? Go screw yourself. This is ridiculous. if you want to judge what is black for yourself and how you want to stay black, fine. But I'm my own person, and what's been great about everything I've done in my life, from my podcast, which is a show for men, I pitched it as a TV show, and they were like, guys are never going to watch a show with a girl talking about stuff that guys like. 7 million downloads later, you can stuff it where the sun doesn't shine with an unlubricated finger.
But here's the big question, though. When you met Barack Obama, did the two of you like get blacker? Because I've noticed that Barack, when he's speaking in front of a black audience, he starts to get blacker.
Well, black people we're a multilingual people.
Well, white people do that too. Like if a black like I can't think of what, but like a big black comedian comes in here, but I start talking more black.
If Lavelle Crawford comes in here, you start.
Yes. Before you know it, I'm like, "What's up, homie?"
We do have our own language, although I've never used the word homie.
That's how white I am. I don't even know the lingo.
The point I wanted to make is just that my podcast now, so many people write in and they go, I was such a weird kid, and I want weird kids to not feel so weird about being weird. So now that I'm on TV and I have what some people might deem success, I don't really think about it that way, but I'm working and I'm happy with what I'm doing. I have people write in, like, I want that little Asian kid who skates to feel okay about being a little Asian kid who skates, or the Mexican who likes metal, or the black girl who plays video games, or whatever you're into, you should feel okay about that. You should not be hewing to some other jackass's idea about what's okay for you to do because you're a white guy or a black girl or you're Asian. Just, go be an Asian race car driver. Parallel park like a maniac. Go nuts. I don't care what other people think about what I do.
Well, Aisha Tyler is going to be at Hilarities tonight at 7:30 and 10 o'clock. Tomorrow, 7 and 9:30.
Yes.
I do have tickets. They're over there on East 4th Street. I do have tickets to give away. I'll give you the number to purchase tickets in just a second. To win tickets to see her this weekend, caller 30 right now, 1-866-YO-ROVER. That's 1-866-967-6837. Caller 30, I'll give you tickets to see Aisha. And then to purchase tickets, call 216-241-7425. That's 216-241-7425. She has a book, Self-inflicted wounds, which you can get everywhere.
Debuted on the New York bestseller list. Which
There's nothing she
can't
do.
Cried like a little bitch.
Whose line is it anyway?
Whose line is it anyway on CW on
8
Tuesdays.
p.m. CW. Mm-hmm. And then the talk is syndicated
every day. It's 2 o'clock East Coast, 1 o'clock Central West Coast on CBS. And my podcast, Girl on Guys, starts season 3 next Tuesday.
And Archer
starts in season 5 of Archer starts in January.
She's got her hand in everything.
And you can visit me on the internet if you want to see videos of my last comedy special. Go on YouTube and you see the clips. You see what you're in for. All new material though. I'm getting ready to do another comedy special, so all the material's new. But don't bring your daughter who loves me from Friends or The Ghost Whisperer, because it's going to be it's a grown up show. Yes, I am. It's a grown up show.
I like that.
You know what? You spent money and you came out with your girl and you're hoping you're going to get lucky tonight. And you're never going to meet a better wing woman than I am. I'm going to close your deal, my friend.
Go see her at Hilarities this week. And I have to run. Normally we do the show until 11, but we have our golf outing today.
No, you don't.
So we're
going to.
No,
what's happening, right? You guys are going to be putt-putting indoors. Look at that weather.
Oh, we'll play right through that.
Yeah,
we don't care.
Will.
Yeah,
you guys are
maniacs.
hardcore out here.
Yeah, please. We
One
have
fluffy cloud in LA.
We only have about a week of good
tears.
weather out here, so this is what we're used to all year long.
I love Cleveland. I had a great time when I was here last time.
Aisha, I thank you for coming in. Have fun while you're here, and have fun over at Hilarities. We will be back live on Monday morning. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. It's Rover's Morning Glory. Bye.